Welcome back to the Terps of the Beast Coast. Today, hanging out with Phocus Seeds. If you guys don't know who Phocus Seeds is, we're going to get into it with him today. How's it going, man?
Good. How are you doing?
I can't complain. I'm just hanging. It's a cold winter this year in New England. What do you say?
Yes. Yeah. Colder than last year.
So, with that said, let's talk about Phocus Seeds. What's going on there? How long have you been doing seed production? Because I know you just don't do cannabis, man. You do other things besides that. So how long have you been doing seed production, man?
So commercially, I've been doing seed production since about only I'd say like 2020 was when I actually started doing it. But I was a vegetable farmer for about, I want to say, like 8 years now, and I operated Market Garden in Connecticut for 6 years, and then before that I did some other kind of vegetable work. I managed a small family-owned organic farm that was like 13 acres and did some estate work doing veggies. But yeah, so that's how I kind of got into everything, was doing vegetables and farming and horticulture. And then, like I said, in 2020, I decided to start my own small seed company. I'd been saving a few varieties of vegetables for, 5 or 6 years prior. So I had some experience doing that, growing those on the farm. And so I decided to kind of take that and kind of switch my focus and start Phocus Seeds. So, yeah.
Nice. Yeah. I like the parody. Phocus Seeds. I had to snap myself back in and focus with the interview, man. I love that. So let's talk about when you say you've been doing vegetable gardening, what kind of varieties do you specialize in?
So stuff that I specialize now for seed is mostly like, say, your common, two kind of broad groups would be like common garden vegetable varieties. So like, your tomatoes, eggplants, squash, cucumbers, beans, lettuce, that kind of stuff, greens. And then I also do some specialty crops, kind of more permaculture, perennial stuff. Like I do like sunchokes, garlic, some perennial seeds, herbs like sage and fennel, that kind of stuff.
Nice.
I'm carrying a product, or I shouldn't say product, but I'm carrying a pretty cool seed this year called scarrot. It's a root vegetable that's in the carrot family, and it's basically like it's almost like a perennial carrot. The roots are a little bit thinner and longer, but they're pretty interesting. Those seeds were given to me by, shout out my buddy Lars in New Hampshire, who's been growing that plant for years now. So trying to do a lot of, kind of simple home garden stuff, and then also doing some cool permaculture long-term stuff. So that's what I got going on for vegetable varieties.
Nice. Man, so here I am, thinking about what I need to do for my gardening this year, and it seems that you're the man that I need to hit up because you have some varieties that would work in the New England territory.
Yeah, everything I have is adapted to New England. I grow about 90% of the seed that I carry on my site, and then I have 2 other growers that I work with. Like I was saying, my friend Lars up in New Hampshire, and then another friend of mine, Chris, over in Pennsylvania. So we're pretty much in the, New England, upper mid-Atlantic kind of area. So everything's adapted for this area. And a lot of the varieties that I've been growing for like 5 or 6 years now, at least. So I have like some pole bean variety called rattlesnake pole bean that I've actually taken the seed from every single year that I've grown it, and I've laid them out and looked at them all, and you could see how the seed looks, how it's changed over time. So you can, so you can see how it's adapted to the climate and the area. So yeah, it's pretty interesting doing that kind of stuff.
So more of like the casing around it, the husking of the seeds. What did they become, thicker or thinner?
I don't know if I wouldn't say thicker or thinner, but like just the shape of them, like the bean seed. I don't. If you go on my Instagram, I actually did a post of it. It's pretty old now, but you can see like the coloration changed. The size of the bean is more or less the same. They got a little bit, I wouldn't say smaller, but like more oblong and less oval. But like you can see the color pattern on them get like way more like brown and white kind of molted over time, which I don't know. It's, for me, looking at beans is interesting, but
I dig it, man. It's like me looking at resin, right?
Yeah.
Looking at like resin heads from. It's just you look at the different colors, the different shapes. I mean, yeah, I totally get it. That's cool. So let's just talk about your practices when it comes to growing. Are you an organic grower?
Yeah, I'd call myself an organic grower. I don't stick too much to, I guess, what you would call conventional organics, but I mix. I don't use any like really conventional products, but I kind of am in two different worlds where I do like a lot of production in greenhouse, but I'm also doing a lot of like field growing that's organic, past organic, regenerative, and then also too I have an indoor cannabis garden too that's all soil. So I deal mainly with soil. And definitely mainly with organic practices and stuff like that. So, yeah, I'm all for building ecosystems, building soil, making it all work together, man. Being a steward of the earth.
Yeah, it's very important, man. There's not much of the earth left for us to farm. It's running out. It's like a ticking time bomb, because production is more important than growing it the right way. But we're not going to dive into that. I want to stick with Phocus Seeds as far as what your company is doing. So Phocus Seeds, man, tell me, what is like the focus of Phocus Seeds? Like, what is the motto? What is what is it that I say, hey, this is the best seed company to go to versus the other?
All right. Well, like I said before, it's about being a steward of this earth, man, and I have a very a deep spiritual connection to it all. I believe it was my purpose for being here, and that's why I'm on this earth. So to honor God and His creation. So everything I do is with that in mind. So I look for quality first. I'm looking when I grow plants. I'm not using pesticides or herbicides. Like especially outdoors, at least in that context. I'm looking for plants that are vigorous, healthy, pest and disease resistant, especially for crops that are in New England. So I'm looking for plants that are resistant to the pest and disease we have here in Connecticut specifically. And especially too when I harvest, I'm looking for the best seed. I'm looking for quality seed, and I take the time. I do this. This is all. I'm a one-man operation. I do it all by hand.
Nice.
So at the end of the season, when I'm harvesting stuff, I'm out there in the field. I'm harvesting the seed. I'm in my garage for 2 months. With my vacuum seed separator and screens and all the little tricks and stuff that I do to get that seed clean, and then I take it and I do germination tests on everything. I make sure it's like I was saying before, it's high quality stuff. So, everyone who's grown my seeds know that they're high quality and vigorous. They have really good germination rates and really, really healthy plants. So yeah, I guess that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to, like I said, honor this creation the best I can.
Nothing wrong with that at all, man. Appreciate all the work that you put into, making sure that you are producing high quality. Now, let's talk about what are some of the mission behind what you guys are doing out there, besides creating the quality.
I guess another thing would be like on the cannabis end, making new varieties and kind of going where, things really aren't yet. So I work a lot with like auto flowers, and, they still have a bad rap, even though I think they've come light years from where they were. So I guess that's another mission, is just to kind of push what we're able to grow, further down the line for the next generation. So I do some vegetable breeding, but most of my main breeding projects right now are in cannabis.
Okay.
So that's another mission of mine, I guess you could say.
Nice. All right. So when we talk about cannabis varieties of breeding, if you don't mind revealing, do you have a favorite male stock that you like to use, or?
Yeah, so I don't really do much single plant crosses. That's not really how I grow. For my outdoor, so I look mainly at populations. So I'm looking at, anywhere from, 30 to 40 plants at a time, at least. So like for my autoflowers, I'll grow, in April or something like that. I'll start 30 plants. I'll cull the plants that I don't like, and I'll usually pick maybe 2 or 3 males, and then 6 to 10 females, and just let them go to work, man. Let them get busy, and then kind of make my selections that way. So I do kind of a culling selection, and then also I'll go and I'll tag all the females, and I'll kind of write down the traits and stuff that they had, and then I'll take different seed from each of those and grow those out and kind of see where that population goes. So I get a bigger picture than, just a single stud male to a female, like most cannabis growers are doing. They take a male that's real nice and vigorous, and they'll hit it to an elite clone or something. I have done that, but that's not really what I do. Because like I said, I'm trying to grow large populations of plants. So I want to see uniformity, and I want to see how 30 or 40 plants do outdoors, as opposed to just a cut or two or something like that.
Interesting, man. I like that approach. So what have been some of the biggest challenges doing that type of breeding?
Well, it takes a lot of time. I've been breeding cannabis now for I want to say 4 or 5 years, probably going on 5 years now, and it just takes a long time doing it that way. It's easy to hit 2 cuts you kind of know are good together, and then test it out and be like, okay, this works. It's different to be like, all right, I'm going to, cross, 20 plants together and grow those out next year and see what's what, and start making selections that way. But in my opinion, you get a better product in the end, instead of getting these F1 crosses where you have, a few phenotypes in a generation. I'm trying to get one phenotype. So I want that uniformity. Like I said, I'm first and foremost a vegetable grower, so I'm used to growing at a market garden commercial farm scale. So I'm growing 50 to 100 tomato plants. I don't want them to look different. I don't want to harvest them at different times. I want 50 plants that are gonna all yield at the same time, have basically the same size fruit and stuff. So that's kind of my goal, is to make what will be the next generation of heirloom and open pollinated varieties for cannabis for farmers in New England.
Nice, man. I wish you success with that mission, because it is needed here. I mean, I do know a couple of New England breeders such as yourself. So besides the challenges that you've come across, breeding, what kind of challenges have you come across also doing your vegetable seed business as well?
Yeah, I mean, you're at the mercy of the weather. So yeah, and this past season was for me in particular very difficult. It's nice to get all the rain that we had, not have to water, but at the same time, when you're trying to get seeds mature outdoors, it's really tough when it's wet. So yeah, had a lot of crop failure this year, and stuff that I couldn't bring to full maturity, just because stuff rotted outdoors. But that is what it is, and that's how you get these varieties that are hardy and vigorous, is letting them go through it and see what comes out the other end.
Gotcha. experiment, R&D is what a friend of mine always says. It's like research and development is key. Without that, you don't know, what's going to work, right?
No, you don't know it till you grow it, man. That's the only way to do it. That's the only way to do it.
That is so true. So with that said, how has it been out there for you guys when it comes to the cannabis scene in the state where you are? Is there any recent changes that you guys have just went through, I believe?
Yeah, we just went through legalization. I want to say it was like 6-8 months ago, something like that.
Congratulations.
Yeah, I don't know. To me, I'm still doing my thing. I mean, I'm glad people aren't getting arrested for it anymore, but for me personally, like, not much has changed. So, yeah, I would like to see more smaller cultivators, though, and they did leave some room for that in the bill, but I really don't think they understand how nurseries or breeding works still. So that kind of makes me a little sad, because there's no way you could get a rec license as a breeder, because you're not selling any flower, and then if you're trying to sell flower and breed at the same time, it's just I feel like those are two very different things. You can make money from selling flower, breeding, the stuff you're working on, but it's not the same as doing full scaled production that's efficient, and then trying to do breeding. Like there's just so much involved with both of them. It's hard to do both at the same time. I've tried it. I did it. I've worked in the hemp industry for the last year at a full scale commercial hemp greenhouse, 1,500 square feet. Sorry, 15,000 square feet, not 1,500. So it was big, but it's just hard to do, So I would like to see that in the future. But yeah, overall, I think the scene here has been good. We got some regular events, and we got people who are starting to do some pretty cool stuff there, I know. So yeah, we'll see what the future holds, but so far it's looking good.
Gotcha. So with that said, let's dive into, if somebody's here checking out this podcast here and they're like, man, I want to do some, vegetable breeding or maybe some kind of cannabis breeding, can you give them 5 tips in regards to that? 5
tips. Yeah, I guess so. Say the first, especially with any type of, even if you're not breeding, but like plant health, man, plant health is key. Like, you gotta work on that first. Don't try to be a breeder if you can't grow a healthy plant. Master that first. I see a lot of people, you can make seeds, and I recommend everyone do it. But if you really want to be serious about it and really try to do something intentional, make sure you got healthy plants to do it with. Say the 5 things. Put me on the spot. I'd say the second thing would probably be be very familiar with the variety too. Grow it out a lot. Grow it out in different situations in different places, and kind of know how responds to everything. The third thing I would say is know how to take a plant to full maturity, because a lot of people who grow, even vegetable growers that I know who are commercial vegetable growers, are really good at it. And even I considered myself pretty skilled doing that. But when I went to grow seed, especially for vegetable varieties, a lettuce plant is easy to grow if you're just harvesting a head of lettuce after 60 days or something. It's different when you're taking it to 100 days, because you got to get seed off of it. You know what I mean? That's like almost double what it's vegetable. When you harvest it as a vegetable, it's like double its lifespan. So
it's like growing a sativa outdoor if you have the right one.
Yeah, man. So like I said, it's like radishes, man. I can sow and harvest a radish in the middle of summer at like 30 days, but if you're growing it for seed, that's not happening. So it's a lot more involved. I'd say the fourth thing too would be like learn what kind of pests and diseases are in your area, because you could grow a plant even indoors too, and you could have a whole seed crop ruined from some type of pest or disease, especially with cannabis. You get botrytis or something on those buds.
Ooh.
And like getting botrytis, yeah, I mean, that's how it is. Like last year I was growing, like I said, like 30 autoflowers outdoors on my second run, and I mean, half of them were just like the buds are like melting off the plant with all the rains we had, so I couldn't even use any of that seed. Not that I,
Sorry, man.
It wasn't quality anyways, but
Mother Earth was not forgiving to you that time.
Yeah, it happens.
Number 5?
I guess know what you're gonna do with that seed. Know what you're gonna do when you have that seed, when we're trying to grow out that next population. You know what I mean? Take some notes from last year and really, figure out like what your intentions are. I mean, you can go loosey goosey and just kind of see what happens. And I do that with some stuff, but still try to have some intention. Think about how many seeds you're going to have to plant out, how many plants you're going to need, where you're going to put them, and even just storing it too. Like, make sure you store it and make sure you give some out to your friends and relatives and have them grow it out too, man. Because that's the best part about it, in my opinion.
Nice,
I always give seed to people I know. I tell them, just grow this out, send me some pictures, tell me how it does, and they're more than thrilled to do it. So yeah, I guess those would be my 5 tips.
It was more than 5. Thank you so much for sharing, man. Because the thing is everyone has to start somewhere, and at the end of the day, if we can provide them, even the so-called professionals, they might forget some of these things themselves, and if they hear it, then they're like, oh yeah, I gotta stick to this, I gotta remember about the maturity. Yeah,
Yeah, I do it all the time, man. I'll do something stupid and I'll be kicking myself, be like, oh, I got a weed, and then like oh, I'm too busy. Week goes by and I got like amaranth that's as tall as me, and it's there's dropping seeds everywhere, and yeah, it's just a mess. But just keep on.
Nice. So as far as that goes, man, you just told me pretty much how you give back to the community. You hand out free seeds. As far as what you're doing, if people wanted to get involved with you, man, what's your social media channels where they can follow you?
Yeah, so you can follow me on Instagram at Phocus Seeds, and also have a website, phocusseeds.com. You can order all my vegetable seeds there, and I will soon have my cannabis seeds up there for sale right now. I've been working on my own Bitcoin server so I can host my own payment processing and not get taken down, because right now that's still a problem in the cannabis industry. I also have a podcast called Phocus Seedcast, where I talk to people such as yourself and other fellow growers and stuff, and we chat. We nerd out on plants and all that, that good stuff.
Nice.
But yeah. Nice. And just so everyone knows, Phocus is spelled Phocas. So I know. just to confuse everyone, it's not spelled like you normally spell focus. It's Greek. True. So I'm not Greek or anything, but that's how it's spelled. So
Gotcha. Man, it's been a pleasure having you on. We're going to definitely probably have you back on another show that we're doing, which is called Living Soil Matter. Please go check that out if you haven't. But that's where we actually get a little bit more, as you say, nerd out. We're just trying to keep it a little Q&A for the audience, just to understand if this is something they wanted to jump into. These are some of the steps, and just to get an inside behind what you're up to and what is it that you're doing. You never know. You might get an apprentice who might reach out to you, right?
Yeah. I can't pay much right now, so I can give you seeds and vegetables and maybe some flour and stuff. So it's not a bad deal, but
that's not a bad deal at all, man. So at the end of the day, I thank you for what you're doing, because I think growing is very important as far as growing your own food. It's something where society has forgotten that, we all used to partake. That's why, there's called, the harvest moon. That's why it's called harvest season. There was a time where we all came together, shared our harvest. One farm might have grown a certain variety, another farm might have grown a certain variety, and then we all exchange. If somebody was a merchant and he went somewhere and he came back with these said items, he would also trade these items for the said farm goods. And we've lost that touch in society where now everything is more sterile, and you walk into these industrial buildings, which are really fucking industrial buildings, people. It's not really a supermarket. And, you go in there and you pick up these things that are not even really organic. They say they're organic, but trust me, if you're not looking at the coding, it's a simple thing. I believe the code number has to be like 8 or higher on the scan UPC code. If it's something less than that, then it's conventional farming, and you don't even know what the fuck they're putting in it. But I think I just went on a tangent. Anyhow, any other closing words before we jump out?
I think that's it, man. But yeah, it was good talking to you, and I'll definitely have you on my show, and we'll chat some more. So yeah, sure. I appreciate it.
I appreciate you, man. And if you like what you've heard, please don't forget to share, like, comment, subscribe. Thank you so much for coming on the Terps of the Beast Coast. Have a good day.